Ryan Day was on his hands and knees begging a group of basically local businessmen and potential NIL extraordinaires saying, listen, we need money and we need a lot of it just to keep our roster intact. He put a number on it, $13 million we're going to need from you guys, which is crazy. But I'm going to go through his quotes real quick, and then I'll let you take the mic and kind of kick us off here. But he said, and this is so emblematic of Ohio State's mentality forever. I've always said they're SEC light. They don't necessarily completely skirt the rules in the way that Georgia and Alabama does, but they definitely don't play anywhere near by the same set of rules that Michigan does. He says, if the speed limit's 45 miles per hour and you drive 45 miles per hour, a lot of people are going to pass you by. This is a direct quote from Ryan Day. If you go too fast, you're going to get pulled over. So he's saying they've got to find that middle ground, right? Where can we exceed the speed limit without exceeding it too much that we're going to get in trouble? But we need to exceed the speed limit to compete. He said that. And then obviously he went on. He said they've been gathering information, talking to recruits, talking to their families, getting a sense of what other schools are discussing in relation to NIL deals, probably talking to anybody that's gone to Texas A&M on a visit recently. And he said he thinks right now top shelf quarterbacks are going to cost you about $2 million in NIL money to secure their commitment. Major offensive tackles, edge rushers, they're going to cost you $1 million, which is just, it's preposterous that this is what college football is at the moment. But one thing I will give him is this is the new reality. And it may be very unbecoming to see a coach like Ryan Day out there telling local businessmen that, listen, an alumni, listen, we need money at Ohio State just to keep our roster intact, because this is a quote, one phone call and they're out the door. We cannot let that happen at Ohio State. I'm not trying to sound the alarm, he said. I'm just trying to be transparent about what we're dealing with. And to deal with it, he set that bar at $13 million. What is going on, AJ?
Well, remind me again, what does NIL stand for?
I think it stands for pay players to come to my school before they've done anything.
Sign on the dotted line and sign a professional contract before you come to my school.
It's even worse. What's crazy is it's even worse because professional contracts, there's like a lot of rules and they're binding. But NIL, you could tell a recruit, listen, come here, I'm going to give you a couple $1 million, but you can't bind him to play for your school. He can come, take your couple $1 million, and then hit the portal a year later and take someone else's couple $1 million if he wants.
It's literally the wild, wild west. It is. It's the wild, wild west. And listen, like, all transparency, to use the Ryan Day word, sure, you're being transparent to your NIL donors, but what you're also doing is now it's, okay, what we thought happened under the table is now wide out in the open. There is no more backroom deals, sign your uncle's name on this lease, but it's your car kind of thing. It is out in the open. The ugly elephant that sat in the corner of NCAA football, the cheating that has gone on. And listen, you can say it's not there. You can say it is there. Whatever. The truth of the matter is, programs have set themselves apart in a way that not every program has done. Okay. And for Day to come out to his donors and be like, listen, I need an NIL budget of $13 million. So however you would like to get me that money, get it to me, or we are no longer going to be the Ohio State that you remember. It just seems like it just seems like he is putting it out there like, if I don't have success, it's because I didn't have the NIL money.
I didn't have the players.
And to me, that's not, like, one, it's okay, it makes your program look terrible, but like, two, like, you as a man and as a coach, you're already making the excuses for something that hasn't even happened yet. That to me is Ryan Day being as great of a coach as he is, that to me is already a losing mentality. It's already a losing mentality.
Well, and
Oh, if you want us to compete, you got to give us
the
the
thing
money.
is, it's
a
different
problem.
in a place like Ohio State, where he openly admitted, listen, we're going to skirt the rules. We're going to push this further than we're supposed to, than that posted speed limit. And this is, of course, it's not something new to us. It's been an open secret for how long now? But at the same time, as I said a few minutes ago, it's very unbecoming. But I will give him a little bit of credit because this is how the game is being played right now. And there's really two schools of thought on this. And I'll use the speed limit analogy. And this has been something that, and I'm going to talk a lot more about this when we talk about Jim Harbaugh's comments in a little bit, but this is something that fans of a school like Michigan have struggled with for a long time, because the NCAA, even before NIL, is not really selective enforcement. I mean, it's been an open secret, the CAR program at Alabama, how Georgia has acquired their players. Like, everybody knows. This is not confusing. Everybody knows that it's not all kosher at these schools. This is not something that should surprise anybody. And yet the NCAA has let it go on almost entirely unchecked. They only really give programs real punishments if they're a small program, or if they fail at doing what Alabama and Georgia have done successfully. Like, you take the Ole Misses of the world in Hugh Freeze. They tried to join the game. They failed at it. They didn't win enough. They got caught with their pants down. That is a pun that's intended. I hope the people out there get that
Literally.
one. Those are the kind of schools that they actually punish. And they just let Nick Sabans of the world do whatever they feel like, the Dabo Sweeneys of the world do whatever they feel like, completely unchecked. And this goes back to for a long time, fans have said, listen, if everybody's speeding and the cops don't do anything about it, is it really illegal, and should you hold yourself to that standard? And that creates an ultimatum. If everybody is breaking the rules and no one does anything about it, is there really a rule in place? We think yes. Ohio State, they haven't really cared before. Now they really don't care. Now that it's it's not a gray area, but it's being treated as a gray area. And we know the NCAA really, especially at this point, especially because of all the legislation that's passed, can't do much about it, but they're unwilling to do anything about it anyway. So Ryan Day says, listen, this is the game. It's rumored that Texas A&M just spent $30 million on a recruiting class to get the #1 recruiting class. This is what we need to compete. It's unbecoming. It's almost dehumanizing to an aspect. But this is the modern game right now. And I'm not going to say that NIL is going to stay this way. It could get better. It could get worse. There could be changes to the rules. We could have some common sense legislation. I doubt it, but it's a possibility. I'll leave it out there. But Ohio State fans are going to sit there and say that they love this. They're going to tell you, listen, this is what it is, and we want the best players to play for us. So I'm glad Ryan Day is out there rounding up all of his allies that can donate money and say, listen, we need this money. This is what it's going to take to compete with Alabama and Georgia and Texas A&M and Clemson.
Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on a what? Yeah.